Okay, let's go. Today I would like to welcome to the podcast Jordan Pendleton. So, you've got this long name. It's Pendleton, yes.
It's Pendleton.
Okay, yes.
Now it's Pendleton.
After spending many years as a financial planner and then 2 years running her own business as a money mindset coach, which I want to talk about, Jordan began to realize that most of the business owners and leaders she was working with did not know or truly connect with why they were doing what they were doing. Most importantly, she continued to run into the same problem herself. Her business and life felt transactional and compartmentalized. Y'all in your big words, trying to make me laugh.
Trying to throw you off.
I know. And not nearly as purposeful or meaningful as she was designed to be. Jordan attended the workshop with Revenue Tribe. Nora is the owner, and she was on the podcast 3 or 4 episodes ago. Called the Unique Contribution Workshop 3 years ago that changed the direction of her life, and she truly began to understand who she is, why she is here, what ultimately stops her from what she wants, and the impact she is called to make in the world. Longest bio ever. I love it. Now Jordan is on board with Revenue Tribe full time. That's awesome, and is passionate about inspiring leaders and business owners to slow down, to really know themselves better and own who they are so they can become the best version of themselves and make the impact they were created for in all areas of life. Thank you for coming. I love that bio.
Sorry, I couldn't shrink it down.
I was gonna cut it down, but then I really loved it, and I was like, I like it. We'll just go with it. Making me talk out loud, read out loud. I was like, I need to get on that. I know. So my first question is always the same. What was your first job?
My first job was, I think I was 16. I worked as a gymnastics coach over at South Suburban Rec Center, really? Actually. Awesome. Yeah, like every summer I would go, and then I would teach a couple classes like throughout the school year too.
That's really great. So Jordan actually grew up right in our neighborhood, so we were just reminiscing about the schools and where everything is, and my husband also grew up here, so.
Yes, all the flashbacks.
All
of the middle school and high school stuff coming back up.
Everything looks the same, right?
It does.
So how did you get started with financial planning?
Yeah, in college I studied corporate finance, and so I got my degree in finance and economics and international business. It's kind of like a type A overachiever type of girl in high school.
Sound a little overachieving.
Yeah, just throw a couple more things on there. But I slowly started to realize that the track that they were preparing me for in college was the corporate route of going and basically being an analyst and sitting in a desk at in a cubicle at a desk and just cranking away from 8 to 5, and that freaked me out. And so I started to look for sales and marketing jobs and came across this just an ad in our at the CU Boulder business school thing that said, oh, do you like working with people, and do you want to make an impact on their lives and make as much money as you want? Who doesn't answer yes to all those questions? So I was just like, check. It was a marketing internship, and it was for a financial planner. So I started the last 6 months of college, I started working with her, and she was just moving from Phoenix, and I helped her grow her business. So I was doing a lot of cold calling and filling seminars and doing all this stuff, but then I slowly realized that I actually really liked it, and that blend of the marketing and sales with the financial knowledge and expertise and the ability to work with people. That was my biggest thing. I want to talk to people. I've never been just a shut me in a closet kind of person.
Yep.
So, that's how it all started.
It's interesting to me that you knew, right off the bat, that you're I do not want to sit at a desk from 9 to 5. That just sounded horrible to you.
Yeah. All my jobs were, gymnastics coach. I worked for doing catering. It was always up and out and moving around and talking to people, and that human interaction is where I get most of I just like to study people and learn more about humans. So the thought of interacting with a computer 24/7, I still limit my computer time to 3 hours a day because it just doesn't serve me well. So
I totally understand that. I think it's really interesting because I did all those things. I did catering, I did bar cart, I did waitressing, I did one-to-one people interaction stuff, and then I ended up at a desk. And it took me a while to realize that wasn't the thing that gave me energy. And I think a lot of people don't realize how long, how much the people interaction and the actually helping and impacting people is what helps them, or is what, fires them up. Instead of sitting behind the desk doing data entry. My worst job was I literally was supposed to just sit in a cubicle and do data entry. And I'm like, I can't help anybody. Nobody.
Just staring at
spreadsheets?
The people
around me.
I don't know.
Okay. No. I'm out.
Yeah. And I kind of ended up doing a bit of that as in financial planning, but I think it's really important to look at and like be real with yourself about what gives you energy and what shuts you down, because it's there for a reason. It's there to like tell you something about like what fires you up, like is like where you should lean into and press into. And so I think we can like ignore those internal signals of like when things aren't quite right or aligned with who we are. Yes. And so listen to that.
That's awesome. I love that. So you left financial planning.
Yes.
Why did you leave?
The type A overachiever Jordan went full force into financial planning. I had all my licenses within like a couple of months after graduating.
Wow, that's hard to do.
Yeah, I got a couple while I was still in school, so I was already like selling and bringing on clients like while I was still in college. And then I was just running so hard, and my whole life became about numbers and money and like getting the next client. And about 3 years in, I pulled my head up. Like, you have to learn so much. Like the first 2 years, I feel like all I was doing was just like taking in all this information about how to be a financial planner and grow a business at the same time. And about 3 years in, I really hit a wall of I finally had a moment to like pull my head up and get like out of the weeds, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was looking ahead at the career track and seeing, looking up to mentors and people around me in the career, and I was not excited. Like I wasn't excited about where the path was going to lead me, and I still wholeheartedly believe in financial planning and that like strategy and tactic and planning is like so important. But there was something off for me, and I spent about a year like really at the last year of it just soul searching and trying to figure out like, who am I? Like I lost myself in the pursuit of wanting to win awards and trips, and like I did all that stuff, and yet there was still something missing, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And now in hindsight, I understand what happened. It was just like I gave up so much of who I was to work 80 hours a week grinding, and like I lost connection with my family, and my now husband and I like had broken up, and just like everything just seemed to be kind of like falling apart around me, and I wasn't connected to anything, and I was literally like a robot. Like I was just going through the motions of life and exhausted and directionless. And so I finally just like, it's like maybe I'm not supposed to be like forcing this anymore, and I need to take a break from it and step away. And at the time I didn't know if I would ever go back. I haven't yet, but I think it was just an important time. I feel like it was like a quarter life crisis at like 25. It was just like kept ramming my head into a wall, like nothing was working. I was in 3 to 5 and trying all the strategies and the tactics, and nothing was working, and I just was not like fulfilled in life. And I don't really like doing things if I'm not like excited about it.
Most people don't.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm just done forcing this.
So you left financial planning, and what was the next step?
So I got this idea like in the middle of the night. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do beyond financial planning. I just know I can't stay here anymore. Like my values aren't necessarily aligning with the company that I'm at. So regardless, like I need to get out. Like I need to get out and get some space to breathe. And then one night in the middle of the night, I just woke up with this idea of going and helping millennials do like financial education courses for millennials, like take the information that I had learned and like go help people. So I started a course called Millennial Financial Boot Camp, and I just started like enrolling people in like getting them to know more about money. And I had I just started working one-on-one with people that were not necessarily looking for the whole planning aspect of running college projections and retirement planning and all that stuff, but they were just kind of struggling with the day-to-day of money, and nobody was really filling that gap. So just started like tactically like, all right, let's talk about it. And I created a process, and the more and more I dug into that, the more I started to see that it was not so much a tactic and strategy issue, like that was like 20%, but 80% was actually how people were thinking and feeling, and like what they were believing about money and like how it worked. And so then I, about 6 months into that business, really shifted into being a money mindset coach, and just saw the shift, like for going to the actual like root of the problem, instead of just going to budgeting and the numbers, because it's like rarely actually the numbers and the money that's the problem. It's like 5 steps before that. So I was kind of trying to dial it back and into understanding mindset and how that impacts money.
So belief has the impact. So people's values and beliefs about money really kind of impacts how they live their life.
Values, beliefs, and identity. I mean, identity about ourselves too. Like that's like the bottom level of like, who do you think, who are you in your own head? Like, and is that congruent with what you're trying to do externally?
Right.
And if that doesn't align, and usually that's set in place like at a very young age, like 8 to 12, like your identity really starts to get formed, and then it gets re-informed over the span of your life. But if you grew up in a not great household that wasn't good at managing money, or you grew up in poverty, that poverty mindset, like, and that your identity gets very wrapped up in that. So it's beliefs is one layer, is a layer above that of like, then how what are you actually believing about money, and how do we actually like rewind and figure out
that?
Yeah,
that's really cool. So what obstacles do you find with doing the money mindset coaching? Do people have a hard time digging into those beliefs a lot of the time, do you think?
Yeah.
Is that the biggest obstacle?
Yeah, I think it's just like exposes a lot of, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so just because we're, starting, when I was just starting with like the money part of it, that doesn't mean there's not going to be other stuff that comes up too. A lot of times, like, I worked with a lot of couples, and their limiting beliefs about money really triggered a lot of other things outside of just their financial situation as well. Of like, it's usually just something so much bigger, and so it's hard to get there, like all the way to the bottom of it with people, especially if they're not willing or want to. A lot of like, we're just kind of like trained as Americans that there's a strategy and there's a tactic, and very like left brain operation. This is very much going into right brain and going, you've tried all the tactic and strategy and you keep running into the same wall. So we gotta kind of rewind it a little bit and see what's actually going on, and that's not always easy.
Right, because the beliefs inform the actions, right?
Yeah.
So you're finding, people are like, I would like a budget, and you're like, but how do you feel about money? And they're like, but I'm just here for a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to like really get clear on my questions, like before I actually let people come work with me, or before I actually onboarded clients, because I had to, like, you learn through, doing it with people that aren't quite open to the process. And it's just like, well, it's not really worth you paying me money to be your coach if you're not going to be willing to go into it. So how did that, so in that work, you went back to Revenue Tribe, right? Were you sending your clients to Revenue Tribe to try to get their whys and beliefs figured out? Talk about that process for me. Yeah, it kept like circulating around a very similar theme, that kept me always going, they really need to go do the Unique Contribution Workshop, because like you've done it, like that one core belief informs so many different aspects of our lives. Absolutely. And like my own process wasn't as powerful as that, and like quite as straight to the point of getting to the root of the issue. And so I found that I was sending more people there than I was actually retaining as clients. I'm like, you gotta go do this first, and then we can talk.
First, right.
But through that, I've always been interested in so many other aspects of life. Like, just like life in general has always fascinated me. And so just being in the confines of just like how it impacts money felt restrictive to me, because I want to talk about your health and your spiritual life and your relationships, and like everything impacts everything. Like, we are a whole human. Yeah. We are not just like a financial statement or our weight or our diet or our budget, or like, we're not just those things. Like, there's so much that makes up who we are. And I was also seeing that people couldn't get to why they even wanted money. I'm like, why do you want money? Like, if you don't, like we were saying, if you're not excited about it, or if you're not like pumped up, like so many people, myself included in the past, just going to work, go to work to have money, to like, with really no direction of, well, money is meant to be a fuel to life, not the driver of life. Like, so many of us let money sit in the driver's seat, money or success or wealth or whatever that means, like, sit in the driver's seat instead of us, like, driving the car and letting money be the gas. Like, money's just the gas to the car.
Right. It's just energy. It's an energy exchange. I say that all the time. Money's an energy exchange. Yeah. I'm exchanging money for whatever you're giving me, you know, whether it's something you created or something you are creating, or, you know, what that looks like, but it's an energy exchange.
Correct.
And I think when you think of it that way, just like you're like, it's the gas, it's the energy. If you think about it that way, then it's less daunting, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah. And anytime you're leading with, well, it's just to make more money, like, you're going to end up in the same place, you know, 5 years down the line. You're going to run the same lap and, like, what's going on? Why am I here? But, like, and even when I was making a lot of money as a financial planner, being young and having all these clients and stuff, I was spending more because I was so unfulfilled that then money was just, like, flying out of my hands, and I was ending up in debt. I'm like, do I have a 6-figure job and I'm still ending up in debt? It's because, like, it was always trying to, like, fill this void that I couldn't quite put my finger on, of, like, actually being fulfilled and joyful in life. And I was so far from it because really just chasing all the wrong things.
Oh, it's really interesting. So you are now full-time at Revenue Tribe?
Yeah.
Awesome. And what is your role there?
My role, it's a small business, so it's, you know,
we wear a lot of hats. It's a lot of things.
I would say my specialty is still in the sales and marketing realm. I love figuring out how to connect people to what they're needing, like finding where they're at and helping them connect to what they're needing. So helping develop the program of, like, how people actually move through our process, because it's, like, hard to actually articulate what it is until you go through it. And so actually, yeah, like, kind of backing into it and figuring out how to, like, slowly give people access to what it is that we do in the workshop before they invest. So figuring out kind of the top of the pipeline. That's my favorite part of
your
it all.
Processes and systems too, like me. Just like, what is the process?
Yeah.
How do we move people through?
Yeah, product and I mean, I have a bit of like, I like all the pieces of it, but I saw, like, okay, there wasn't, like, a structure, so I've been helping with that, and then also just having my own clients, taking them through the process, and working, doing our group workshops as well.
Facilitating.
Yeah.
What is your favorite workshop right now to facilitate?
Oh gosh, we have our new one that goes beyond the unique contribution workshop, called Unique Contribution Maximized. It is phenomenal. Like, we're, like, very clear now, like, unique contribution is, like, the awakening of, like, what's possible, how your brain is really working, and how it interacts with things, and where you get stopped and where what you want most. It's like the awareness gets raised, and then this is like the activation place of like, now how do you actually bring that into your business, into how you articulate the contribution that you bring to the world, and so that everything's like integrated instead of so like siloed. So
I love it.
It's really incredible.
And so what is that helping people do? It's helping them implement just very tactically.
Yeah, it's like a deep dive of the base workshop, and then also we had to prepare, like it got us all the way up to where we had to prepare a speech about like basically who we are, and not just like the kind of typical business, like here's what I do, like the B&I pitch.
Yeah, this is why I do what I do.
Like the heart behind why, like really why, like through your story, is it that like your place of pain and your place, like Nora talked about, like your place of pain and your place of blessing, like what does that mean for you, and how's that shaped your contribution, and what is your contribution?
I love that. Awesome. So what's next for Revenue Tribe?
Right now it's we have so many people wanting to now facilitate the work, so now we've got like the whole kind of start to finish thing figured out, and so now
That's
it's
awesome.
Just working that and allowing that to work for us, and to kind of work out the kinks in between, you know, once you start doing stuff, you realize, okay, that needs to shift and this needs to shift, and how do we say that better, and where do we give this presentation more often, and so that expansion within like the current system, but then a little bit further down the line is like, how do we take this wider and empower leaders to either facilitate it or to grow their community and connect authentically with their community. So
that's awesome. I know you and I, last time we talked, it was about like, how do we bring this to the masses? Like, how do we create the funnel and then create something that we can facilitate, you know, outside of Colorado?
Yeah.
Which is huge, which will be huge, because people need to know their why and why they're doing things.
Yeah, I know. We like go through, everybody says, know your why and lead from your why, and
but
like,
it's like, how do you get there?
Yeah, that's where I always fell short.
I was always just like, okay, well, we can do the thing. Like, I've done many why workshops, or, you know, sat down with people and did my why, but I was always just like, okay, whatever. And then I did unique contribution. I just cried the whole time.
Yeah, as most people tend to.
I think we're closer now. You know.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta like crack it open. It's not just like a surface level answer. Like it goes so much deeper than we ever think that it would.
Yeah, and we're afraid of that a lot of the time. I was so exhausted after those 2 days. I was like, I'm just gonna sleep.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of emotional work.
It is, yeah. It is deep diving and seeing kind of where you came from and where you want to go. And
so you guys are doing monthly workshops now? The Power of Purpose?
Yes, the Power of Your Purpose. So Coffee and Convos is just our authentic community that we are building. That's just come, have a cup of coffee, let's stay in the conversation of purpose and meaning, and then Power of Your Purpose is once a month, and it's a really awesome workshop. It's that kind of like essence of the full workshop, but very like high level view of what your purpose is.
That's awesome. Well, before I ask my last question, where's the easiest way for people to find you?
I think Facebook right now.
You've been doing a lot of live videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so final question. If you could have business owners focus on one thing, what would it be?
One thing.
Mm-hmm.
Know you. Like, know who you are. And I just don't think we're given a lot of tools to, like, know that. And when you know better who you are and what matters to you, the rest starts to fall into place. Those decisions around money and business and things just start, you know how to, like, funnel it down to what matters most to you and who you are and all of that.
I love it.
Authentic.
I love that answer. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yay!
Hey y'all, thanks for listening. If you found this podcast to be inspiring, helpful, and entertaining, please like and subscribe. This helps us grow the community and reach more people. If you are interested in learning more about this episode's guest or accessing any of the books or other resources mentioned in this episode, be sure to check out the description box below. Until next time, be abundant.